On the cutting edge of anomaly research, you are about to experience The Evidence with your host, 3D pioneer and image analyst with Mars X3D, E.W. Gannett.
Well, hi there. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D, and this is episode 101 of The Evidence. I'm speaking to you today from the Sunrise Command in the woods, the wild woods of Maine, where I will remain for the next 2 months approximately and return to civilization in September with a little bit of luck and hopefully a freezer full of salmon and lake trout and goodies like that. You know, this is an X3D stereo channel, and what that means, if you're new, is that you need to learn the technique of X3D viewing. Now, there are links in the description below, always, that will take you to various tutorials, one of which is going to work just great for you. It usually takes anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes for someone to catch on and to do it. For the rest of you proud weirdos, and you know who you are, welcome back. We've got some neat stuff. My buddy Laszlo Shabaliks has been busy. And he finds some pretty interesting stuff. And I found a couple of things myself. So let's have a look at it, see what you think. Most of the anomalies I share with you are the kind that are in your face and really quite obvious, except to those die-hard weenies who reject all evidence if it takes them out of their comfort zone. For that reason, we're starting today with some not-so-obvious long-distance anomalies from Percy 96. You probably know by now that Jezero Crater is loaded with randomly scattered architectural artifacts. You know, some people seem to make it a hobby to call every last stone and pebble an anomaly. But since we have so many interesting items to choose from, we can be a bit more discriminating, can't we? I found that cluster inside the target box interesting, and here's why. By the way, I wanted to bring out the detail in the shadows, so that triangle in back is definitely overexposed. For all you Photoshop purists out there, get over it. Anyway, it's just possible you'll agree that these items really raise a number of question marks. Even if you don't agree, the purpose of this image is to share with you how I look at things with the hope that maybe it'll be helpful to some of you anyway. Let's start with the sky on the right. Notice in the lower left corner the 4 divots or circular depressions evenly surrounding that U-shaped cutout. That's suspicious. As you move up the left side, you can see 2 small cutouts and 1 large one at the top that seem to be quite deep, as well as each one sporting clean-cut 90-degree angles. Notice, too, how that left side is arrow straight all the way to the point at the top. Maybe that's natural, but to me, that's suspicious. On the right side, we see that the triangular part of this thing is bilaterally symmetrical, arrow straight, and then drops straight down to the ground. More suspicious material. And finally, look at the markings on the face, which face, by the way, seems to be suspiciously flat. We have right-angled markings incised in the stone, and to the right, a perfectly triangular divot. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but that's also suspicious. Let's move to the box-like piece just to the left. The box itself shows symmetrical right angles and seems to be hollow inside. More suspicious stuff. Starting on the left and moving right, we have what appears to be a shiny metallic ball reflecting the sunlight. To the right of that, a crescent-shaped piece with a ball on each end, all of which seems to be metallic. Then there's that small hook-shaped piece, and next to that, a mashup of reflective material. Guess what? Yep, suspicious. Moving to the upper left, we have what might be a structure, but is more likely to be a block buried at an angle in the sand. Along the top edge on the shaded side, you'll notice two circular openings or depressions, plus the markings on the sunlit side along the left edge. What are they? Who knows? But natural, they are not. I know that's a lot of talking and detail for most of you to absorb, but here's the point. For all of you who imagine every single stone and pebble to be a staggering anomaly, use a little discrimination, a little analysis, a little more adherence to non-fractal properties. In other words, let's all raise the bar and find good, solid evidence that will stand up to scrutiny without having to twist our imaginations into a pretzel. I've really been wanting to interview Laszlo Shabalix because he's a dedicated researcher who's made any number of important finds. Problem is, his English is no better than my Hungarian. But he's an interesting guy with a good set of eyes. This is one he dug out of one of Neville Thompson's early G-pans, and even though the resolution isn't the best, I still think it's worth having a look. Now I know it's blurry, but you can plainly see that this is a pan or a tray of some sort, possibly even some kind of radiator with the core missing. The reason I say that is that nice hose attach point on the right. You know, there really are parts of Mars that look like a junkyard. While I was tracking down Laszlo's tray, I came across this one that I did years ago and thought I'd go ahead and figure out the 3D on it. It's plain enough to see inside the green target. Now you gotta admit, this is pretty strange, right? I don't know if that long piece sticking out to the right is actually part of it or just a long rock that happens to be nearby. In any case, the first thing I thought of was a quahog. They're a prehistoric giant clam that's still living today. They're also called gooey ducks, and I think you can see the resemblance. It's interesting that Mars was an ocean planet, like Earth, so it's entirely likely that mollusks developed there in the ancient past, just like here on our planet. But what's all that stuff on the inside of what might be a shell? Is it possible this is actually a mechanism of some kind? I'm aware that any number of people have claimed this as their own discovery in years past, and that's fine. Please share your extraction and processing and even analysis with us if that's the case, because it's always interesting to see someone else's perspective on a find. Here's another one from Percy 96 from a beautiful GMAC by my friend Neil Spence. Even in the context view, you can see a 3 or maybe 4 foot long chunk of weird inside the yellow target. And it's very important that I point something out. This find was discovered by Thomas Saw, not me. And he shared it with me on our Facebook site. And you know what? I simply forgot that he had done so and didn't credit him. So Thomas, my apologies. Everybody, this is Thomas Saw's find. So we have this sharply angled symmetrical piece full of 90-degree angles recessed squares, much like the amazing stonework at Puma Punku. And to top things off, it's sitting on top of what appears to be a perfectly circular slab. We're already at the breakup point, but I think it'll be useful to get even closer, so get ready to get a little blurry. Maybe you're noticing something that wasn't so obvious in the last image. Let me point it out. How about that nice pipe or circular extension coming off the end? If you can't see, or let me put this another way, if you resolutely refuse to acknowledge that this is a manufactured object, then maybe you'd better get back to watching Benny Hill reruns from inside your comfortable cocoon. The rest of us will adjust to a larger world view without you. Let's wrap things up today with another excellent find by my friend Laszlo. You've heard me say before that I believe it's necessary to view any of the Percy images with a handful of salt, simply because NASA is going all out to hide the more obvious signs of civilization until they're good and ready to reveal the truth to us poor simpletons. That said, let's move in on the green target. Now you gotta admit, this is an odd block. What purpose this originally served is completely beyond me. The shape just doesn't make any sense, other than the undeniable fact that it possesses clearly non-fractal geometry. The rounded corners, the flat faces, that little T-shaped extension at the bottom. If there's some way that can form naturally, I'd sure appreciate someone showing me something similar from our own geology. I can't decide if that hole in the lower left of the front is actually a hole or just a shadow from whatever is projecting from the surface. It seems to have the appearance of a hole when viewed in 3D, but who knows? There's just not enough resolution, despite this being taken by a supposedly 4K high-res Z-cam. Good old NASA. Well, the fish are biting and I gotta go. Hey, thanks so much to our patrons and contributors. Thank you for your generous support. And meanwhile, if you saw something you liked, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It helps me know whether to continue this work. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. To all my friends and proud weirdos out there, you know who you are. Stay safe and stay weird. Until then, this is your buddy Dave at Mars X3D. Be well.